This evening, Queen Elizabeth II has died, Buckingham Palace announces. 50 families will soon settle into their new homes in Region 3. Guyana's tourist count takes a significant leap in the region. Haitian protesters call for the Prime Minister to resign, and internationally, Sudan floods. At least 6 people killed in Gadarif State. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Queen Elizabeth II, the United Kingdom's longest-serving monarch, has died at Balmoral, aged 96, after reigning for 70 years. Her family gathered at her Scottish estate after concerns grew about her health earlier on Thursday. The Queen came to the throne in 1952 and witnessed enormous social change. With her death, her eldest son Charles, the former Prince of Wales, will lead the country into mourning as the new king and the head of state for 14 Commonwealth realms. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said, the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and Queen consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. All the Queen's children traveled to Balmoral near Aberdeen after doctors placed the Queen under medical supervision. Her grandson, Prince William, is also there with his brother, Prince Harry, on his way. In a statement, President Irfan Ali expressed profound and deepest sorrow at the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. The president said her passing marks the end of an era in the history of British monarchy, the United Kingdom, and Commonwealth of Nations. The nation's tourist count has taken a significant leap to 105,905 during the 5 months when compared to the 48,626 recorded in the same period last year. An additional 158,223 visitors are expected to travel here later this month, ahead of Guyana's hosting of the finals of the Caribbean Premier League. The exceptional accomplishment comes at a time when the tourism sector continues to face enormous challenges due to the successive waves of the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite this, the government remains resolute in equipping the sector with the necessary capital to develop the human resources to meet the demands of the rapidly growing economy. For the first half of 2022, some 808 persons were also trained in business and social media marketing, first aid and CPR, and hygiene and sanitization, aimed at improving the delivery of quality tourism experiences to customers. Another 6,000 persons will be trained through a Guyana-Barbados joint tourism initiative, with Guyana swiftly becoming one of the most sought-after destinations for pleasure within the Caribbean. President Ali also recently announced that visitors entering Guyana will be able to drive a motor vehicle up to 60 days using their country's driver's license. Persons coming here are assured of receiving quality goods and services, as the Guyana National Bureau of Standards is mandated to ensure the business community is up to standard. Approximately $312.8 million of the budgeted $732.1 million was expended in the tourism sector for the first half of 2022. Some 50 families will soon settle into their new homes as the Central Housing and Planning Authority has completed the construction of several core homes in Region 3. The home construction falls under the CHPA's Adequate Housing and Urban Accessibility Program, which targets low-income residents. The 20 by 20 feet 2-bedroom concrete structures have been built in the Parfait Harmony. On Wednesday, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell disclosed that the 50 homes were constructed at a cost of $4 million each. Persons were required to apply for the core homes, and once successful, were expected to contribute $100,000. The Adequate Housing and Urban Accessibility Program also caters for home improvement subsidies of $500,000 in materials to upgrade their homes. Additionally, Minister Crowell disclosed that government would soon commence the construction of several flat houses in the Essequibo Island, West Demerara. Minister Crowell said so far in 2022, over 1,400 lots have already been distributed. Some $3.4 billion in infrastructural works are ongoing in 5 housing developments in the region, which caters for 2,800 allottees. Works include the preparation, construction of access roads, bridges, culverts, and drainage. It also caters for the installation of electrical and water distribution networks in the housing areas. Stick around after the break. After being closed for more than a decade, the Mara police station reopens and Guyana police force investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a 4-year-old found in an abandoned vehicle.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. The Guyana Police Force has launched an investigation into the discovery of the unfortunate death of a 4-year-old boy who was reportedly discovered in a locked car at Madhya Region 8 on Tuesday, September 6th. The motionless body of the child was reportedly found in an old car sometime after 10 hours after his mother and other relatives realized he was not at home. Inquiries disclosed that the car was parked with the windows closed nearby where the child lives. Reports are that the child might have stepped out of his house and gone into the car to play but accidentally locked himself in and suffocated. Relatives claim they do not know when the child stepped out of their sight. He was reportedly left in the care of a relative by his mom before she went off to work. She reportedly returned and inquired about her son's whereabouts, and it was only then that they realized he was not around. The body is at a funeral home awaiting a post-mortem examination. Investigations are ongoing. After being closed for more than 10 years, the Madhya police station located in the community of Mara on the east bank of Berbice in Region 6 was reopened after a laudable effort by the region's commander, Senior Superintendent Budnarain Prasad. In a simple but significant ceremony on Tuesday, the station, which took about 5 weeks of continuous renovations work to complete, was officially reopened. Deputy Commissioner Operations Robindranath Budnarain, in his remarks, praised the collaboration among the police, the residents of Mara, and members of the corporate sector who were instrumental in the resuscitation of the station. Budram, seeing the need for a suitable vehicle to effectively police the vast farming and cattle-rearing community and surrounding areas, allocated a pickup to the station so that ranks could conduct patrols and tend to reports. 27-year-old Carlos Hackett was charged and sentenced to prison for the offense of break and enter and larceny when he appeared at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Hackett appeared before Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman, where the charge was read to him. The Administrative Justice Act was applied and he pleaded guilty. Hence, he was sentenced to 48 months imprisonment. Hackett was arrested on September 4th for break and enter and larceny committed in the dwelling house of Charlene Singh, a 38-year-old police constable. Don't go away after the break. Brazil's Bolsonaro leads massive Independence Day rallies, and Sudan's flood, at least 6 people killed in Gadarif State.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now, let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Thousands of people across Haiti have taken to the streets against the high cost of living and widespread violence. They have been demanding the resignation of the country's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. Al Jazeera's Mike Hanna has the story.
The protests have become a weekly event and follow a now predictable pattern. They begin as a peaceful march, the demonstrators sometimes being closely shadowed by police. Then clashes break out. And next gunfire as the police attempt to disperse the crowds. Some demonstrators appear to be armed, and the bullets do not only fly in one direction. The protesters insist they will carry on until their demands are met.
We came to say we want fuel in gas stations. We need money transfers in US dollars. We want the cost of living in Haiti to come down. We want insecurity to come down.
Haiti must be paradise for everyone, not for a small group only. The people have their demands. Everything we are asking for must be clear. Otherwise, we'll never stop the protests. Today, the system must learn because the Haitian people want to change their country.
The Prime Minister says his government is aware of the seriousness of the situation and has pledged to fight poverty and ensure that more fuel is available at gas stations. But for most in the streets, these are empty promises, and the message is clear. The protests will continue until the long-postponed election is held and a new government replaces the old. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera.
Brazil is marking 200 years of independence from Portugal, but the opposition is accusing President Jair Bolsonaro of using the celebration to promote his bid for re-elections. Al Jazeera's Monica Yankee reports.
President Jair Bolsonaro moved the heavens and earth to turn this special Independence Day into a milestone of Brazil's history and of his own campaign for re-election. His rally in Brazil's capital city, Brasilia, drew tens of thousands of supporters and a military display of planes, parachutists, and tanks. Even the embalmed heart of monarch Dom Pedro I, who declared Brazil's independence from Portugal 200 years ago and proclaimed himself emperor, was brought over from Europe to be on display. Polls show Bolsonaro still trailing behind left-wing former leader Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
Polls are lying. If Lula is really the frontrunner, where is he? Where are his crowds? We are here to show that Bolsonaro represents the majority. He will only lose the election if there is fraud, and the people will take to the streets to stop that from happening.
Bolsonaro moved from the military parade to a political rally in Rio de Janeiro, his political stronghold.
The overwhelming number of people here in Copacabana today are supporters of Jair Bolsonaro. They're answering the president's call to show up in force, transforming what would usually be a national day into a political rally.
The president focused his attacks on Lula's leftist party.
We have a fight between good and evil ahead of us. The evil has governed Brazil for 14 years, almost breaking our homeland. Now they want to come back. It won't. The people are by our side, the good side.
Many are asking for the removal of Brazil's Supreme Court and Electoral Court justices, whom they accuse of conspiring against Bolsonaro. The president himself has been casting doubt on the country's electronic voting system. Opposition leaders, including Lula, accused Bolsonaro of abusing his power as president to campaign for his re-election on Independence Day.
When I was president of Brazil, I never used the most important national date in our country, the Independence Day, as an instrument of electoral campaign.
Lula's Workers' Party has taken this accusation to the Electoral Court. Monica Yanakiev, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
Flooding in southeast Sudan has submerged more than 20 villages and destroyed thousands of hectares of farmland. At least 122 people have died since the beginning of the rainy season in mid-June. Al Jazeera's Habib Morgan reports.
This is what many villages in Sudan's southeastern Gadarif State look like. Days of torrential rains and the seasonal flooding of the Rahad River has submerged homes. Many have collapsed, leaving residents with nothing.
The water came and flooded us and took everything. We used to have many books, but all of them are gone. We lost our savings, food and furniture. We have nothing but to thank God.
More than 4,000 homes have been destroyed in 23 villages near Sudan's border with Ethiopia. Most have been cut off for nearly 3 weeks. Authorities in the Western Galabat region have provided some assistance, but it's nowhere near enough, and they have broadened their appeal, describing the situation as catastrophic.
The Directorate of Health in the state of Gadarif provided medicines and blankets. Also, the State Emergency Committee provided what assistance it could. But it's not sufficient compared to the size of the disaster. We urgently appeal to all Sudanese people to help us, as well as international organizations.
Several people died when the Rahad River burst its banks, and hundreds are displaced. These families have found shelter in a school. It's only temporary, and although it's dry, it lacks basic necessities.
We are in a very difficult situation. Our children can barely survive here. We need tents, food, and water. We need medicine. Our children are suffering as we don't have anything.
Large swaths of agricultural land are waterlogged, and livestock have been swept away, raising concerns of an outbreak of disease and an environmental disaster. The Rahad River floods every year, but people here say this is the worst they've seen in 3 decades. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your thriller weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. Tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.